I play Cherise in Underdoggs. I play Trey's mom, he's a kid who is at times troubled, but like ultimately a really good kid. And I play also Snoop's Jaycen Jennings, high school sweetheart. So the through line of the story is kind of this unit who has moved from high school to where we are today in our careers, and we meet where we are now, like modern history, and we go from there. Cherise is basically, she runs her own clinic uh, in Long Beach, and she is trying to keep together. I think parents in general try to keep their kids busy so they stay out of trouble. And she's also kind of the lead mom of the football team, the league that they're in, her son's in. So she's trying to, like, you find her basically in the beginning trying to hold this team together. There are coaches that keep quitting on them, don't believe in them, they think they're just crap, and she's just the one force that has been stable for these boys, and she believes in these boys, including her son. So it's a group of kids who are just trying to find their way in life, and I think she's the one person who's like, I got you, and we're gonna make this happen, and she ultimately does. And I think Underdogs is about a lot of different things, but ultimately it's about people who are counted out of different systems, whether it's your career or whether it's your, the society that you're in, or people kind of don't look to you for the things that they used to or never did. So I think it's about a group of people finding their way back to who they really are, and believing in themselves, and believing in each other, and overcoming what other people think, no matter what they think. Jaycen, I mean, obviously in the beginning, he's doing it for his own selfish reasons, trying to come into, he we basically kind of coincidentally meet in Long Beach, and he's doing community service, and kind of meets us on the field where we're at, and takes it so that he can on social media become more loving and lovable. So I think it's I don't know. I think it's obviously for selfish reasons. He tries to get in good with what the world thinks of him, but ultimately these kids and myself really win him over, and we trust him. I think he makes his way back into our lives. But it's not easy. I don't think Cherise makes it easy, because I think of their history that they've had, where for selfish reasons they've broken up. And I think it's a fun story, because what I love about this story is you get to see Cherise and him when they were younger, and then you see them now and who they are, and you get that through line of a story, so that you care about these two characters and what they implement in each other and in the people around them. Trey, I think he has his own issues of, like any little boy, they're trying to figure out who they are. And I love that too. It's like a young coming of age of these little boys who are just trying to find their way. And I think Trey is a leader in his own right. And sometimes leaders don't know how to handle the pressures of holding a team on their shoulders. So they're like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do everything. Me, me, me. And I think sometimes that relates back to Jaycen Jennings, and he sees himself in Trey. And I think, as a mom, you can do so much. And I think sometimes, like, having this guy who's played football, who knows that kind of badass attitude, who grew up in the same place that Trey did, he sees himself within Trey and says, Trey, you actually have talent, but it's not going to go anywhere if you don't listen to anybody, and you're going to end up like me, meaning Jaycen. And at that moment, I think when he recognizes that, Cherise recognizes, like, yo, he gets it now. Like, he recognizes that he was an asshole, that he did make mistakes, that he was wrong, and he's trying to ring the alarm for Trey. Yeah, I mean, boss lady, the obvious inspiration for Cherise, and I was honored that when I met her, she was just like, I'm so happy. She was just like happy that I'm playing, and I playing her or an inspiration of her, and I just love their love story. When they walk on set, I was just watching them and how they don't always have to talk, you know what I mean? That you just feel their bond and they're just super connected. And so I hope I took some of that and mixed it in with what we're doing. And I just love their love story. I love that she's known him since high school. And I love that they're still together after all these years, especially in our business, which, I mean, a year is like 20 years. You know what I mean? So they've been together for a very long time. I don't know. I just think they're universally loved by so many people. And I think this story, them inspiring this story, I think is something that I think everybody could relate to and hope for in their own lives. So not only is it a football action story, it's also a love story, right? Two people finding their way back to each other after all this time. For Snoop, I think why people love him in general, and I think I'm talking about across the board, is because he's so authentic to just who he is. He's not trying to be anyone else. He's from Long Beach. He oozes that, but he just oozes like an authentic personality, right? And I think nowadays people just want to see, one, I think they want to see comedy, and I think they want to see fun, and there's a lot of irreverence in there. So I think he balances the relationship between like obvious commercial success, but still being who he is, but also the authenticity of like this story of a football team that he actually did coach, a love life where he actually did end up being with somebody from high school, boss lady. And so, yeah, I mean, and there's just so many aspects of honesty in this film that I think people are gonna really feel. I was on the show, my first job, One Life to Live, and he's like, I love that show, and so I've known him for a very long time, and we've stayed in touch, and he's been the same person in the sense of kindness and funny, and just shows so much love and never changes no matter who's around, and I always respected that about him, and I'm just glad that I can work with him in such a longer period of time, because I've really gotten to be in the presence of an icon. I'm like, you're an icon, dude. I just watched the Super Bowl over again, because of you. And he'll say something like, man, I was on that stage. I was a fan too. I couldn't believe I was there. And so I think, again, his authenticity of like being grateful for where he is and knowing where he came from, I think that's why he's Snoop. And I think that's why everybody loves him. And so I'm so grateful to be able to still work with him. I think the comedy lies in the irreverence of the way the kids talk. I think the writers did an excellent job capturing the personality of Jaycen Jennings, which obviously is infused with some of Snoop, but I think people are going to be surprised on, I mean, because Snoop's in every aspect of the film. And so I don't know if he's gotten this opportunity to show his comedy chops, also his drama chops, and then also working with kids. I think any community that has, that is given a platform to shine, especially places like Long Beach or, any hood, where any, you know what I mean? I think anywhere you go, when even if somebody does something in Queens where I'm from, you're like, or Long Island, you're just like, oh, that's my hood. And I think, especially for Long Beach, I think it's going to mean a lot to people. I think people are going to be excited that their community is called out, and they might see different elements of that, and whether it's in food, whether it's in blocks, whether it's in poly high, whatever that looks like. I think being shouted out and basically saying we see you, and Snoop didn't forget, and you're important to me. I think that's something that any community would love. So I'm sure Long Beach is going to be super happy about it. I think people are ready for something light and fun, but also something with some honesty and realness. And Snoop Dogg's in it. I mean, Mike Epps is in it. George Lopez is in it. I'm in it. And then there's a bunch of kids that are freaking hilarious. And I just think it's they've done a beautiful job. And I know we're at the end, but I'm excited myself to see it.